There's a lot of information around the world about rider biomechanics, and there's a lot of really good exercise programs coming out and have been on the market for a long time, and very many of them involve the big gym ball, and certainly my program's got a similar theme to it. I wanted just to discuss the transfer of what you're doing on the ball to what you do in the saddle. Now, you can merely exercise on the ball as an exercise or as a movement pattern. You can build strength and stability and symmetry. You can build active flexibility through your body, and these are all very good things. What I see failing in many cases is the transfer of those movement patterns to be successful in the saddle. And this is where rider biomechanics goes into a greater depth in the how, not just the do. There's many instructors that will say sit up straight, stop fiddling with your hands, keep your legs still, and certainly a lot of these exercises can help you fix those problems. But the how you go to the saddle, when you're in the saddle, is true rider biomechanics. So I just wanted to discuss one movement pattern that's very popular, and it's the anterior and posterior tilt of the pelvis. Now, in riding, we are on a moving platform and the horse lifts his hind legs. Let's just think about the walk. He lifts and steps forward, he lifts the other one and steps forward. So his hind legs are doing this. So your pelvis should be doing the same thing. Now, if your pelvis is moving in this tilt forward rotation movement, to appear still, your trunk is moving in a counter movement. Now, that's all well and good if you've trained flexible, active flexibility. But now what we want to do to be functional, to apply an aid, is use the movement pattern of the pelvic tilt. In this case, we're going to look at walk to halt. So we've got this rock and roll movement, and if you haven't got that, then you're not in tune with your horse. So we've got flexible activity. Now we want to go to controlled stability with the movement pattern of a pelvic tilt into the posterior, but not collapse through the waist, not hang on through the hands, and not drop the lower leg out. So we're walking along, we start to engage a little bit of leg to hand, half halt, and if we're in a straight line, it's certainly symmetrical. As we slow the horse down and prepare him to halt, we bring in a little bit more core, which you've pre-trained, and then you add in an independent, isolated pelvic tilt. So that stops the horse or blocks him. Yes, I use the word block, from his hind leg stepping to a square halt. Now, the minute the horse halts, we come out of the pelvic tilt into neutral. If we want to engage the horse to walk on, we can engage a little bit of pelvic tilt again, squeeze through the ankles, give through the hands, and there's your aid to walk forward. The minute the horse is walking forward, we go back to neutral, but neutral is not static. Neutral in the walk is this tilt up, forward, tilt up, forward. So the difference between flexible movement and an exercise and a movement pattern to functional use in the saddle must have an understanding. You first have to have the skill, then you need to understand how you're going to use that skill and movement pattern and apply it in the saddle. Now, very many things go wrong once we get in the saddle. And again, one of the common things is that when you get asked to use more seat, people screw or hump the saddle because our seat is not trained as a leading point. So if you find yourself driving into the saddle or humping it or moving your body to get more seat, then your training on the ball has not been either transferred to the saddle or it actually hasn't been correct. So we want symmetry, we want core stability, we want flexible activity or flexible movement trained in isolation as a movement pattern and as an exercise. Then we want to apply that in the saddle. So if you're having some difficulty with this, some of the reasons might be you've got some problems in your back, you've got some muscle imbalances through your body, you've got some weakness, some tightness, past injury, current habits. All of these will interfere with your success of doing ball exercises. So it's not necessarily a matter of doing more, it's a matter of doing it absolutely correctly. So if you want some help with that, certainly give me a call. My physiotherapy skills in conjunction with my rider biomechanics skills can possibly change the way that you train yourself for riding.